Module 6, Infrastructure and Economic Transformation. 1. Conceptual foundation. Infrastructure as an economic multiplier. Infrastructure is often referred to as an economic multiplier, meaning that every unit of investment generates multiple returns across the economy. For instance, transportation infrastructure reduces logistics costs, increases access to markets, and improves labor mobility. Energy infrastructure enables industries to operate at scale, enhances productivity, and attracts foreign investment. ICT infrastructure fosters innovation, facilitates digital economies, and connects countries to global value chains. Economists such as Aschauer, 1989, have argued that infrastructure investment has a direct causal relationship with economic productivity. When designed strategically, infrastructure becomes the backbone of structural transformation, shifting economies from low productivity, agrarian-based systems to diversified, industrial, and knowledge-driven economies. 2. Infrastructure and GDP growth. The relationship between infrastructure and GDP growth is profound. Capital formation. Infrastructure contributes to gross capital formation, which increases the productive capacity of an economy. Employment creation. Large-scale projects provide both short-term jobs, construction, and long-term opportunities. Operation maintenance. Foreign direct investment, FDI. Multinational firms often assess infrastructure quality before investing in a country. Efficient ports, airports, and stable electricity supply attract global companies. Regional competitiveness. Countries with strong infrastructure, e.g., Singapore, UAE, outperform peers in global competitiveness indices. Empirical studies by the World Bank and IMF reveal that countries investing at least 7 to 9% of GDP annually in infrastructure experience sustained long-term growth compared to those investing less than 3%. 3. Infrastructure and industrialization. Infrastructure is the engine of industrialization and manufacturing. Transport corridors, industrial hubs emerge along highways, rail lines, and seaports, e.g., China's coastal provinces along belt and road routes. Energy supply. Reliable electricity drives industrial clusters, supports value-added processing, and reduces reliance on imports. Logistics and supply chains. Efficient warehouses, roads, and digital systems reduce production bottlenecks and encourage just-in-time production models. Without infrastructure, industrialization remains stunted. Africa, for instance, loses $170 billion annually in potential trade revenue due to poor infrastructure and high logistics costs. 4. Infrastructure and human capital development. The economic transformation role of infrastructure extends beyond physical capital. It enhances human capital, education, infrastructure, schools, universities, and digital connectivity improve access to quality learning and skill development. Healthcare infrastructure, hospitals, clinics, and clean water systems improve labor productivity by reducing disease burdens. Urban infrastructure, affordable housing, sanitation, and transport systems enhance the quality of life, reducing inequality and urban slums. The Human Capital Index, HCI, of the World Bank consistently shows that countries with advanced infrastructure achieve higher labor productivity and innovation capacity. 5. Infrastructure as a tool for poverty, reduction, and inclusivity. Infrastructure facilitates inclusive economic growth by bridging rural-urban divides. Rural roads improve access to agricultural markets, reducing post-harvest losses. Telecommunication connects remote communities to digital financial services and e-commerce platforms. Water and sanitation projects reduce disease prevalence, increase life expectancy, and empower women, who often bear the burden of water collection. The Asian Development Bank, ADB, argues that infrastructure-led growth reduces poverty faster than growth led purely by extractive industries. 6. Financing infrastructure for economic transformation. Transforming economies through infrastructure requires massive, sustained financing. Public funding, national budgets, often limited, face pressure from competing demands: health, defense, social programs. Private sector participation, public-private partnerships, PPPs, and concession models leverage private expertise and funding. Multilateral development banks, institutions like the World Bank, AFDB, and AIIB provide long-term loans for infrastructure, innovative financing, Green bonds, infrastructure funds, and diaspora bonds are emerging as new funding models. The challenge lies in ensuring debt sustainability while mobilizing enough capital for transformative projects. 7. Infrastructure, economic transformation, and technology. The fourth industrial revolution, 4IR, requires infrastructure that supports automation, AI, and big data, smart grids for energy efficiency, 5G networks to drive innovation ecosystems, digital infrastructure for e-governance, fintech, and blockchain-enabled trade. Technological infrastructure not only increases economic competitiveness, but also positions nations for future readiness in the global economy. 8. Challenges to infrastructure-driven economic transformation. Despite its transformative potential, infrastructure faces numerous barriers. Corruption, mismanagement, and rent-seeking inflate costs and reduce efficiency. Weak institutions, poor regulatory oversight leads to abandoned or low-quality projects. Environmental sustainability. Climate change requires infrastructure that is resilient and eco-friendly. Regional disparities. Investments often concentrate in urban areas, leaving rural populations marginalized. 9. Case studies. China. Aggressive infrastructure investment since the 1980s transformed China into the world's second-largest economy, with mega projects such as high-speed rail, special economic zones, and smart cities. Rwanda. Post-genocide recovery emphasized ICT infrastructure, e.g., fiber optic backbone, positioning the nation as a regional digital hub. Nigeria. Despite being Africa's largest economy, poor power supply and inadequate transport infrastructure limit industrialization and national productivity. 10. Policy implications. For infrastructure to catalyze genuine economic transformation, governments must align infrastructure projects with national development strategies, ensure transparency, accountability, and governance in project execution, integrate green and sustainable principles into infrastructure design, balance urban and rural investments for inclusive development, embrace regional cooperation, e.g., African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCTFA, for cross-border infrastructure. 7. Policy recommendations for sustainable infrastructure financing. Develop robust PPP frameworks with transparency and accountability. Strengthen domestic capital markets to mobilize local long-term financing. Embrace green finance and climate funding to attract sustainable investments. Improve governance, risk management, and investor protection mechanisms. Foster regional financing mechanisms like the African Union's proposed infrastructure fund, encourage diaspora participation, and leverage technology-driven financing models.